Thank you. Thousands of years ago, the magnificent and beautiful Garden of Eden was created. Now, in that garden grew the most splendid and amazing variety of fruits, vegetables, nuts, herbs, grains, and spices. And I can just imagine the abundant variety of tantalizing assortments of colors, shapes, sizes, flavors, and textures. Hello, if you're anything like me, you love to eat, and you love to eat well. But if you're also like me, you not only want your foods to be healthy and nutritious, you want your foods to be succulent, tasty, and bursting with great flavor. Did you know that you can achieve all of these wonderful elements in all of your meals, from breakfast, lunch, dinner, and oh yes, my personal favorite, dessert? Well, you can, just by using foods found growing in your garden. Come with me, because we're about to explore vegan cuisine prepared within your means right now on Eatin' Good. That's Eatin' Good. Welcome back to Eatin' Good. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Red Jackson.
And I'm Debbie Carroll.
Now, Debbie and I were talking about how much of an influence diners have been in our lives, and especially American lifestyle. So today we thought we'd go ahead and do some new American classics.
Exactly.
And what we've got on our menu for that, I'm going to be preparing a version of burger, which is an oatmeal pecan burger without the meat, of course. And you know, Debbie's going to follow it up with something else that's really good.
Yes, we're going to have some what we usually call steak fries, but we are actually going to have steakless baked fries. And then we're also going to have some macaroni and cheese.
Good.
And then we've got dessert.
Gotta have dessert. Gotta have dessert.
Wonderful ice cream. You've got to have ice cream.
Now, I know you guys are looking and saying, okay, what are you going to do with a burger that's going to be different and vegan? But it's very simple. We are going to make a delicious burger out of oatmeal and pecans. I know before you say, wait a minute, that's a breakfast cereal and a cocktail nut. Believe you me, they are going to provide, again, the protein that you're looking for and the flavor when we add all of our different herbs. And it's so simple to make. So let's begin. Okay. We're going to heat up our pan, and we are going to add some olive oil, a little bit, just about, I'd say, a tablespoon in here. And we're going to saute some onions, and we're going to saute some garlic and some portobello mushrooms. Right. Now, we already also have a pot boiling with about 1.5 cups of water, and we're going to use that in a minute. I'll get back to that in a second. But for right now, we're going to go ahead and use our onions and our mushrooms. What goes into this lovely, lovely burger? We have, that's okay, Debbie, you work it out. What we have in this burger are our seasonings. Some of our seasonings are sage. We've got what I call the pinches of rosemary, thyme, paprika. There's a little bit of parsley in there and a little bit of red pepper to give it some more spice. We have our garlic, ground garlic. Make sure you use garlic powder and not garlic salt, because obviously the salt has a great content that adds to, you know, things that aren't good for you. So we want to keep our sodium content down. We have here nutritional yeast flakes, which also provides protein. And I don't know if you all knew this, but when you're using nutritional yeast flake, it has at least 8 grams of protein to 2 tablespoons. So you're not going to be missing any of your proteins in this. When you're also using your spices, we also put some, we add some extra onion powder, because I like a lot of onion. And that's really about it. Now here we have some aminos, and which is also containing some your protein and your vitamins in here. Got some vitamin B in there, and it's also a substitute for soy sauce, which has too much salt in it. Now we're going to add this right now while our water is boiling. I'm going to add that to our water. Just let that get in there and simmer. And Debbie, you ready for
I'm chopping these the old-fashioned way. Your gadgets don't want to work for me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, you know,
that's okay. Before we had those gadgets, we had our fingers and our hands, so we're going to go ahead and use that.
That's right. Do you need more?
You know what? I think that'll work.
Okay.
And just give me some.
Let me start some mushrooms for you, and let's get a little garlic.
And one of the things that we want to do too is just remember that, I don't know, I was talking to Debbie, when I used to go to my the diners every now and then, hold on a second, I used to check my burgers. And like you, Debbie, you know, I wanted to make sure that I had my pickles, my onions and everything all put in there, make sure they didn't cheat me out of my condiments.
That's right.
And every time I would open up my burger, I would see this big splot of oil from, you know, the fat and everything that's in here. And I didn't think anything of it. I thought the more grease, the better. But obviously, when you're talking clogged arteries, that can't be good for you. And so with this recipe, you're not going to find any more oil than what we've already put in this pan.
Exactly.
So now we're going to go ahead and again simmer this. And while our water is now going, this is going to turn translucent. The onions are. Okay. When that's done, it'll, you know, you'll see that it's a little bit more, you know, it looks better anyway. It'll be a little bit more clarified. So here I'm going to go ahead again and put my sage in. Again, my garlic powder, my nutritional yeast flakes, my pinches, which is the rosemary, thyme, parsley, paprika, and the red pepper, and my pinch of salt, and the onion powder. Just going to stir that up. And you can just smell the aromas coming out. And again, as we like to say here in Eating Good, you got to herb it up. So that's what we're doing.
Oh, that's savory.
All right, and you just cover that down again. Now, I know you're probably going, okay, but why couldn't you just put that already in your oatmeal? Well, what we want to do is have the flavors of the onion and the garlic and the portobello mushrooms released into the water, or actually released from the sauteing. So that's what it's going to do for it. All right, you ready with those? I think that's good enough.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's perfect. Perfect. Doesn't have to be perfect.
Hands can do what machines cannot.
That's right. So we get that in there, stir that all up. And in the meantime, Debbie, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to put the oatmeal in the bowl. Yep. And you can go ahead and stir that in. Of course, it's going to, again, absorb now the seasoning. This is our pecan meal. And one of the things I want to tell you, even though you're thinking, oh man, this is a nut she's put in there, pecans, again, they are very good for you. They do have a high oil content, but they're good oil. It's good fat. Now, one of the things you want to do, again, if you have pecans, one of the ways to test a good pecan when you get it in its hole in the shell, you shouldn't rattle. It shouldn't rattle when you shake it. And when you are using pecans in any form, it's really good to store them in the refrigerator or the freezer when not in use. So again, if you crack open some pecans, some nuts, grind them up, you get your pecan meal, or you can buy it already ground up for you in any health food store. Okay, now we're going to add our sauteed mixture.
Excellent.
Which you can smell that garlic and onion flavor coming through.
Nothing like garlic and onion.
Yeah, because it makes you feel like you're a real cook. Okay. And that's going to go ahead and mix in there. Now, I really love this because, again, it's so simple. That didn't take any longer than, what, 10 minutes to do, really?
I don't even think it took that long.
All right, so we've got that going. So this is basically done, and when it's done, you'll see it looks like this, and you obviously are going to need this to cool. Okay, so when you let this cool down for 10 minutes, you're able to form it into patties. Now, I already have some prepared, so I'm going to go ahead and do that while Debbie takes it away and gets her steak baked fries done.
Steak baked fries. All right, we're going to get ready for this. All right, now, before we get ready to do our fries, we've got our boiling water here for our macaroni and cheese, and I'm going to go ahead and put my macaroni get that going, so that'll be nice and ready.
There isn't anybody that doesn't love macaroni and cheese.
Oh, yes. Yes. Now, I'm going to borrow your spoon here for a second.
Okay.
Just want to get that stirred.
All right.
Okay, we'll get that going. Now, we're going to get ready for our fries. And this is really easy. We're just going to cut this. Let me move this out of the way so you can see.
Okay.
Okay. Get some of our condiments out of the way so you can see what we're doing here. And we're simply going to cut this right down the middle. And it's not like those little fries. These are, they call them steak fries, but like we said, these are steakless fries. And then cut it down the middle again. And I think we can go one more time on this one. And you see you've got a nice size fry.
Now, why do you leave the skin on? Because I get a little afraid of that brown stuff. I mean,
I leave the skin on because it's more nutritious.
Oh.
Okay, that holds all the nutrients that are in the skin.
Okay.
And it really adds a nice little flavor to it when you cook them.
I guess, and you sure you just got to scrub them really good.
We scrubbed them really good. We made sure all the dirt was gone.
That's really what I was trying to say. I was trying to be nice about it.
Although, you know, they say a little dirt won't hurt.
That's what they say, but I want mine dirtless. So, but actually, you know, they are kind of hardy with that. And you know what I like about those, because I've had them the other day for the first time, the way they're prepared now without being fried. And to be honest with you, they really were good. I know people say potatoes are fattening and all that. They're not. And they're fattening when you start adding all of that, when you start adding all of the sour cream and you've got all of those other things like the cheese, you got all that, that stuff that just causes the cholesterol issues to happen. So you want to cut down on that, and baking them really helps.
That's right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to oil these. Okay, so we're just going to get a little oil.
And that's olive oil you're putting on there?
Olive oil I'm putting on here. We've got a nice cookie sheet.
I'm sure those potatoes are really happy where you're oiling them up like that.
Well,
for the oven.
We're going to put some seasoning. As soon as I can get this off, we're going to put our seasoning on our fries.
Okay.
We just sprinkle that. Okay. And like I said, you can use whatever seasonings you want. Well, I like to give it a little kick.
Herb it up really good. Now, that's a spicy seasoning that you're using there just to give it. It has probably some
little cayenne
pepper. Always got to have the cayenne pepper.
Oh, yeah. And I'll just finish just a pinch more of the cayenne because I really like
Now, again, you know, the skin, you said the skin, I just want everybody knows, because it's so important when you're eating right to remember all of your nutrients. And a lot of people think, you know, when you eat vegan, you're missing out on all of your nutritional value. And that's so not true. Again, you know, with the oatmeal patties and the oatmeal, the fiber and all the vitamin B12s and 6, all of that is, you know, you think you can only get from your source of animal protein. And that's so incorrect. It's just about information.
Exactly.
So, you know.
These are ready to go into the oven. And we're going to put these in along with our fries.
Because when you have a burger, you gotta have some good fries to go along with it.
Now, get some of this out of the way. We're going to get started on our mac and cheese.
That's one of my favorite things to do.
Okay. Now we've got that going.
Okay. Let me just make some space for you.
Let's see what we got going here, because that's boiling nice.
That looks good.
Now
this was a whole wheat pasta. Just want everybody to know that we're using things, again, sticking with the nutritional value, and the whole wheat is obviously much better than your white flour products.
Now,
much better.
I need to get a pan.
All right, so we're ready to go.
Yeah, let me grab. That's where the pan is. Okay.
All right.
Now, got our fire up a little bit.
Now, is this going to be really cheesy? Because
it's going to be,
you know, people get concerned when you're not using real cheese. You know, you're missing out on your taste, and you know, you don't mess around with macaroni and cheese in an American classic.
No,
you know, I'm just
nice and cheesy.
I'm just trying to say, because if it doesn't taste cheesy, it ain't gonna be pleasing.
We got that melting.
So now, and this is soy butter we're using.
Soy butter. Right. Get that melting, and then we've got some flour, some whole wheat flour.
Okay.
I'm going to get that melted down a little bit, and you can see that's melting.
And it melts like real butter.
It melts like real butter.
Although, you know, again, the cholesterol content is a lot less.
Right.
Much better for you.
And the salt content.
And the salt content. Gotta watch out. And I talk about it all the time, but in all honesty, you know, when you like me, you were a person that had high blood pressure, you don't want to go back to that because you're talking medications and all that. It's so much simpler to change your diet. You know, cut down on all of your items that have a high content of sodium.
And now we're going to add some soy milk.
Now, you know what's interesting, Deb? When I was growing up, my mom didn't do macaroni and cheese like this. She literally, this is when I started getting older and getting into different macaroni and cheese samplings.
Yes.
I found people made this little, whatever you want to call it, this liquidy consistency and poured it over. My mom would just literally bake her macaroni, you know, boil her macaroni and cheese. She would cut the cheddar cheese or whatever it was in little square blocks, mix it in with some butter, and then for whatever weird reason, of course I was a kid so I didn't care, she would crack open the egg, whip it up, and then pour it over the top of it, throw it in the oven, and that was it. So, I mean, it came out tasting really delicious, but in all honesty,
and not realizing how much cholesterol she was putting in.
You think she was trying to kill me?
Well, no, they just didn't know any better, you know.
Just kidding.
We're learning. We've got a lot more information accessible to us now, so now we can learn how to do things in a healthier way.
Much healthier. And still delicious. So that's important.
Okay.
All right, so
get
that's
going.
good.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to add a pinch. Let me just scoot over here and get this.
All right.
I'm going to add a pinch of mustard. Now, I know that sounds strange, but it puts a little